And hello, fans of The Weeknd and fans of deep lyrics in general. Today we are talking about The Birds Parts 1 and 2. So you're getting 2 for the price of 1, which I think is pretty awesome. The Weeknd is a hugely deep artist. Even if maybe he doesn't write all of his songs, at least they have this uncanny way of staying pretty darn near on theme. And they continue to develop this like holistic picture of who he is, not only as an artist, but as a person. And The Birds were one of the original, earliest, most famous attempts at this. So I'm super excited to be explaining this one today. I'm also excited because you guys have been requesting this one for a long time, and for some pretty good reasons. It's one of his most famous ones from his earlier trilogy, and it's just all around a very interesting song that stays true to who Abel is. Now, I know that you guys are sometimes like, oh man, the pop song professor, I made a request and he hasn't explained the song that I wanted him to explain. Good news for you guys, if you go to the link down below, hit up my Patreon. It is Patreon week after all. For $5 a month, you can vote on a song for me to explain every month. And for only $3, you can help me pick songs to explain for my Still Needs Explained patron-only podcast, which is gonna be pretty lit. So you don't have to wait months and months for me to like finally get around to explaining the song you want. Plus, you can get a print of Can't Feel My Face by The Weeknd if you sign up by February 23rd. Awesome, I know. I've tried your patience long enough, let's get into it. Overall, these two songs tell a two-part story. One of them, specifically, the first one, is Abel saying, hey, don't fall in love with me, I'm not gonna love you back, and it's just gonna hurt you. You're not gonna like what happens. Part 2 happens after she falls in love with him, and now he's basically telling her, man, I don't know what to tell you. I told you not to fall in love with me. There's not much I can do at this point. I know I'm just that great of a guy, but you should have listened. We even hear a gunshot at the beginning of part 2, and even though we don't know exactly what's being shot at, I personally think that she's shooting at either him or the girl that he's now in love with, though there's a possibility she could be shooting at herself. But let's jump into the weeds here a little bit, shall we? Part 1, verse 1, Abel's telling her, look, don't fall in love with me, it's a bad idea. Hope you see it won't mean a thing to me, I've been doing this too long. And he warns her, ain't nobody gonna care enough to catch you fall. So if she falls for him, no one's gonna be there to catch her when she does. Kind of a pun, that's sort of cool. And then the chorus gets a little bit weird. So don't you fall in love, don't make me make you fall in love. What is going on there? Well, my best theory is that Abel has a very high opinion of his abilities with the ladies. He's basically telling her like, I mean, if you come on to me, yeah, I'm obviously going to try to seduce you, like that'll happen. And there's just not a question in my mind that you will fall in love with me once that happens, but I take no responsibility for it. I'm just that cool. And he tells her, it's because, girl, I'm just a bird, and says later, nobody needs to fall in love. A lot of stuff going on there. The idea of the bird, I mean, that's where the title of the song comes, and at the end of part 2, we hear crows cawing, which could suggest that he's not exactly the nicest bird, but basically he can't be pinned down and he's liable to fly away if he wants to. And that line, nobody needs to fall in love, is interesting because it goes back to maybe what is his biggest philosophy, especially if you watch my video about the hills. He believes in the importance of sex, but he doesn't want to feel emotions for other people. He's afraid of it. Then we get into some really interesting stuff in verse 1 of part 2. He says, she said, please mercy me. Let me fall out of love before you F her. She begged me, she gave me all her pills. Now my back hurts, she lost control. So she's having sex with him, she's giving him drugs, all sorts of stuff, just because she still loves him. She let him make her fall in love with him. And now he's interested in somebody else and he wants to have sex with her, and she's basically saying, look, no, it would break my heart if you had sex with her while I'm still in love with you. Just give me some time to fall out of love with you. Here's stuff, let me bribe you to love me. And it's kind of a sad picture, to be honest, for both parties. Weeknd knew that this would hurt this girl, but he's just that kind of person who would do it anyways. He refers to himself earlier essentially as a person like me, and so he's aware of his own flaws, and it's not, you know, a surprise or anything for me to say that The Weeknd isn't always the best person, because he basically forecasts it, brags about it, dissects it, feels it, and tries to communicate it to us in his own songs. Martina Topley in the bridge sings, sandpaper kisses, paper cut bliss, don't know what this is, but it all leads to this. You're gonna leave her, you have deceived her, you're just a bird. And so she's kind of like a third person point of view, watching not necessarily a person, but just a perspective, looking at the scene from the outside like we're doing, calling the Weeknd out for what he is, not necessarily in a judgmental way, but just in sort of a matter of fact. You deceived her, you're a bird, you're gonna leave. Even though you're kissing her, they're still sandpaper kisses, so they're rough, they're not nice. And then in verse 2, the Weeknd sings, look what you did. Nobody forced your hand. He didn't make her have sex with him. He allowed her to. If that doesn't sound too conceited of a way to say it. But it happened, and now according to the chorus, you're pleading. She on the floor, she on the floor. She said it won't be long before she falls out of love. It won't be long before she falls out of love, just a bird. And that's a great way to summarize this. The Weeknd is a bird. He's not gonna be constrained by people. He'll give you fair warning before he breaks your heart, but if you're gonna take the risk, it's probably, no, definitely going to happen. And guys, don't forget, if you want more songs by The Weeknd explained on my Still Needs Explained podcast, or even on this channel, or if you want that poster, which is amazing, check out my Patreon in the description down below. For as little as $3 a month, you can join our community and be a part of explaining songs with us. It's awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.